So my family and I decided to tackle a system that is mired in politics, tradition, where it's actually easier to stand in front and give and talk to people, tell people what they need to learn, and also fixed mindsets. And where parents believe that education, in order to be successful in life, you need to be an A student, right? You need to excel in your exams. And I grew up loving school, like absolutely loving school, loving it so much I didn't want to go at all. And that was because I didn't understand why I was learning what I was learning, all right? And I couldn't see what it had to do with my life in the future. And so school is actually really dull. But I was really lucky because I had a mom who made learning really, really fun for us with all the tips and all the tricks that she would teach us. And so my sister and I were known as we were A students, and people thought we were geeks who studied all day, when actually we studied very, very little. And it was because my mother liked marrying fun with learning. And back then, 25 years ago, when she started the English centers for us, it was kind of unheard of and super unconventional. A lot of parents are like, huh, can I? Can you actually make learning fun? Can you actually create a system where kids are, very happy to go to class every day? And so we actually branched out into schools. And when we first started our school, parents were like watching to see if we would fail. And there were parents telling other parents, yeah, don't send your kids there lah. 2 years they will close shop already. So that was that. And so all eyes were on us to see whether we could make something like this work on more than just English classes, but in math and sciences as well. The other obstacle we faced was money. Who doesn't face that? Funding. Because back then, in order to set up a school, you need 4 acres of land. You also need money to build and construct the building and also furnish it. So we actually bootstrapped our way into 2 schools. And when we started the school, we started having another issue. We became known as the party school or the something school. I don't know why it is, but in Malaysia, when you have fun while you're learning, you automatically get known as the party school. And there were competitors telling the parents that if they don't want their kids to work hard, if parents don't want their kids to work hard, send them to our schools. My kids are enraged when I tell them that, actually. And it's because we don't believe in a system where you sit down and listen to someone tell you what to learn all day. Like feed you information about oxygen or nitrogen. They tell you what it is. We like to make it a transformative process where you experience it, where instead of hearing about oxygen, you get to fiddle around with the process or the concept to discover it. And that's basically the basis of our school, transformational education. And so we actually branched out into, and we became really well known for it, to the point where parents actually tell other parents now that if you want your kids to transform, send them to these schools. And it became to the point where there's a demand for a methodology, and that's where we actually branched out into games. We actually create games for education, where it basically combines academics with the skills that our kids really, really need to learn. So that's us demonstrating our board games and card games to people at events. And so what that does, why we're doing it, is because 3 years ago, I experienced true experiential learning in the form of, so there I was, kneeling there, sweat dripping down my forehead, my fingers trembling, as King William planned to have it all, was reading my contract. All right, that will hopefully bring wealth to his kingdom and to my kingdom. And then I hear, time's up, count your victory points. And this was an experiential business training that we actually went for, where instead of sitting down and taking notes about the concepts and then having to revise it all day, we actually experienced the concepts instead. And I walked out of there practicing what I learned. And it was way faster than actually memorizing it. And that's what transformational education is about, not informational. Because under pressure, when you know something, you forget it. It flies out the window. So that's informational education. But when you actually experience learning the information, it becomes transformational, where you own it. So imagine riding a bike. Those of you who know how to ride a bike or swim, even if you haven't done so in a long time, when you actually get back on the bike, yes, you may be rusty, but no one can take that skill from you. And that's the kind of thing that we attempt to imbue our kids with. These skills that are considered soft skills, but really are essential skills. So games allow us to combine the academics with skills like negotiation, problem solving, pattern recognition, and like social interaction as well. The other thing we really love about it is that it allows us to grow kids as human beings because it allows you to explore emotions. For example, failure. Everyone loves failure, right? No, we avoid it all the time. But we give the kids a segue to explore, an arena to explore this in a safe learning environment where no one's going to laugh at them for experiencing it. And we actually take them through it. So that's why we went into games, to basically spread what we do. Because I believe that kids shouldn't who change the world, it shouldn't be limited to like the lucky chosen few who happen to be born with a skill set to really make a positive change on the world. And I also asked myself as a teenager, like, where could I, because I'm a bit of a hippie, I want to solve the world's problems. So I asked myself, where would I be able to create the most impact? And that's why I decided to join my mom when I was 16 years old to create a transformational education system. And that is why we're actually tackling a system mired in politics, tradition, and fixed mindsets. And it's because education is not about getting that degree. Education is about growing human beings who fearlessly dare to do the right thing for this world without compromising their morals and values, and also with human beings in mind. And today, I'm very grateful because we are on the cusp of making a global impact in countries like Indonesia and Australia. Thank you.